Today we're going to do a review of the 2 and 3 position directional valves. We've already looked at them earlier in the semester, but this time we'll take a second look. Notice on the 3 position valve, which would be a symbol, 3 positions, 1, 2, and 3. The 3 position valve, when it's in this position, is called neutral. Then we have a position up on top and one down below. So when we connect some pressure to it, you'll notice that even though there's pressure on the valve, no air is coming out. That's because the center position, which is the neutral position, is all plugged and closed at this point. This is showing that all ports are closed. So then we have one position and the other. So a 3 position closed center valve. The 2 position directional valve, 1, 2, basically looks very similar, but it has one trait that all 2 position valves have. Most important, that when pressure is applied to the valve, one port automatically fires. No matter what, there's always one hot port. So if you're ever asked the question, what is the main trait of a 2 position directional valve? The main trait is one port is automatically turned on when pressure is applied to the valve. Here we have a solenoid valve and an air piloted valve. These are all 2 position valves. You'll note that these look very similar except for the change. A solenoid in order to fire it electrically, an air pilot, which means that another air source comes in to tell this when to move, and of course these were manually operated lever valves. All valves don't look the same. Here is a 2 position solenoid valve. These 2 though are basically exactly the same. It depends upon the manufacturer on how they look. The symbol for that 2 position, 1, 2, is the same for all of them. This is showing a solenoid 2 position valve. That symbol would be the symbol for this and this both. Here is the manual. We could change this if we wanted to. We could remove this and add the lever operator. And now that symbol represents this valve right here. So there's a great deal of flexibility in directional valves. A further application of a 2 position directional valve would be connected to a double acting cylinder. We have taken the hot port, which is the port that we talked about that is automatically charged, and we've connected it to the rod end of the cylinder to hold it in. So when we activate and fire it, the cylinder extends. So note that when I let it go, it automatically retracts itself, but when I fire it, it will extend. That sound that you're hearing coming out of the valve is called the exhaust. If I change to a 3 position valve, you'll note the difference. Three position valve, remember we talked about, has a closed center, which means all ports are closed when it is pressurized. So in this particular case, here's the unique part of a 3 position valve. The 3 position valve allows me to extend and retract a cylinder. However, what we can do with this type of valve is move this in increments. So you can see in automation, this would be very handy for placing parts in different positions. Hence, 3-position valve, closed in the center position or the neutral position, nothing in, nothing out, until we operate it one way or the other. Additional valves that you will work with that are not directional valves are called 2-position on-off valves. This being the symbol, you'll notice that it's either on or separated off. But you'll notice that these are very similar to electrical switches. Here, this is what's called a toggle valve. So when I put pressure into this valve, and just like a switch, I can turn it on or off. And you'll notice again, a toggle switch just like on electric. Here, we have another one, it's called a push button valve. You'll notice that the same thing, just like a switch, but you're just letting air pass through. The next one is called a micro switch, and you'll notice up here, just like on an electric switch, when something passes over, it operates. And finally, this is called a needle switch, needle valve, and you'll notice that when this is closed up, it allows air to pass through. When it's loosened up, it changes. So you have a whole series of types of valves besides the directional valves that can be used in a pneumatic operation.